Well, and it really doesn't matter how good of a quarterback you are if you don't have somebody who can catch it. And I know that was a big issue last year. There were a ton of injuries in the wide receiver room. I think I saw at one point last season, Oklahoma had like their top five, possibly, wide receivers who were on the injured list. How is that looking this year? And who do you expect to step up as a big contributor?
Yeah, it was you don't want to laugh at people when they get hurt, but it kind of became comical every time the injury report would come out. I know you had this, you couldn't just click the picture. You had to like download it and then open it up to like a PDF file or whatever it's called, or, Excel spreadsheet. It's like, okay, so basically everyone's hurt.
Right.
Yeah, it got pretty bad last year, but I would say that OU's offensive problems had more to do outside of the availability of receivers. Because if you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't really matter. If you don't have an offensive line to block in order to maintain the quarterback's uprightness and safety so that the play can develop, it doesn't matter. So they could have had Jerry Rice and Larry Fitzgerald in their primes. I don't know if it would have mattered that much, but it was just kind of a crappy cherry on top to a bad season. Was knowing that Deion Burks was hurt, was knowing that Nick Anderson got hurt, was knowing that Jaleel Fruit got hurt on the second or third play of the season, broke his foot. He tried to come back during the Missouri game, and it just it wasn't meant to be that late in the season. So at this point, they're in a much better place in terms of health and availability. Basically, every single receiver outside of one, and I'll get to him in a second, have been healthy for the most part of fall camp and have performed well. They're going to have to depend upon some transfers, notably Giovanni Gibson from Kennesaw State. This guy has been hurt since spring, but he is raring to go. I think there are some inside reports going or saying that they expect him early in the season, maybe Michigan, maybe Temple, the third game of the year. Not so sure, but he's getting to a point now where he's about to start ramping up to go full speed. Giovanni Gibson, from a physical standpoint, has everything that you want in a big time receiver. The question is just like with John Mateer, is okay, you've done this at Kennesaw State. Are you truly a diamond in the rough, which can happen, or does it not work at this level, like at a place like OU and a conference like the SEC? But if OU wants to be successful this year, they need Giovanni Gibson to be everything that we heard back in spring before he got hurt, because they've got a plethora of short, shifty, fast guys, but they don't necessarily have a big, tall, physical presence that can just go up and make a catch. Because it seems like every team, even Vanderbilt in this conference, has a big guy that can go up and make a big NFL style catch. And OU's got a bunch of guys who are my height and shorter, but but it's okay. They're much faster than I am. But outside of Giovanni Gibson, Deion Burks is a guy that we were all excited for last year. He started off really hot against Temple with 3 touchdowns. Um, if Seth Luttrell, the old offensive coordinator, did anything, he did force feed the ball to Deion Burks. And while he had some production early on, it wasn't as home run inducing as we were led to believe back in spring ball the previous year. But I'm kind of willing to chalk that up to that offense had no idea what it was doing. It should have never. It was something that should have never been created. We should have never seen it. It was an abomination on all of our eyes. So maybe that kind of bled into Deion Burks's lack of big playability. And so with a better quarterback, a better offensive line, a better system, a player with his talent can thrive much better. So Deion Burks has been healthy this fall camp. He's going to be a big factor in OU success, more than likely. And then the third name would be a name that you guys are probably familiar with, Isaiah Satania from Arkansas. Fast, big play type of receiver that can take the top off of a defense. He's to me a big improvement over a guy like Brennan Thompson, who OU had the last 2 seasons, who transferred from Texas. He's now at Mississippi State with Jeff Lebby. He was mainly just, he was not big, but he was the fast guy who would take the top off the defense. Satania can do a lot more than that, just based on what I've seen of his time at Arkansas. OU's receiver room got better, even though they lost Nick Anderson. And while OU fans love Nick Anderson, especially for his game-winning touchdown against Texas 2 years ago, and he comes from somewhat modern OU royalty. His older brother Rodney Anderson was a running back with Baker Mayfield and Kyler Murray. Unfortunately, the Andersons are always hurt. Poor Rodney got hurt 3 times during his career at OU, and Nick, other than 2023 for most of the season, has just been injured. So, I mean, good luck to him at LSU. And if he's healthy, LSU got a hell of a receiver. But it got to a point where you just couldn't, in the era of NIL where you're having to pay guys to stay, it just wasn't a very dependable investment, because again, he makes your team better if he's healthy. But even though they lost Nick Anderson, I feel like on paper and from an availability standpoint, as of right now, OU's receiver room is in a much better place than it was last year.